Hey guys, my name is Anthony, and in today's video I'm going to be bringing you my sort of raw reactions to the first race of the F1 2020 season, the Austrian Grand Prix. So we're finally back, we're finally into the full swing of things, and yeah man, this race, it disappointed in a few parts, but it also didn't disappoint in other parts as well. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about a few different points. It's not going to be a long video, it's just going to be a short video. As I said, it's just going to be sort of a raw reaction to the Grand Prix. And first but foremost, I'm going to play a clip right about now. And Lando Norris, obviously you've seen what happened at Spa last year. You know, I feel as if you give him enough time as well, similar to Albon, that he could get a podium, a surprise podium. So yeah, that was in the F1 2020 bold predictions video that I made all the way back in January, and I said that Lando Norris was going to get a podium. So the fact that he got a podium in the very first race, man, all I can say is big up Lando Norris, congratulations to him. I think there's a lot of people who are proud of the fact that Lando Norris got his first podium. Obviously with the incident that happened between Hamilton and Albon, I'll get into that a little bit later, but you know, everyone's happy for Lando Norris right now, and McLaren had a pretty good weekend. You know, 3rd place and 5th place in the first race of the season. That's a pretty good result for McLaren. I'm sure that they're hopefully gonna, you know, take that momentum and improve on themselves, and hopefully we can see more races like this. You know, down in the future. You know, down the line. I mean, I don't know why I said down in the future, but in the future they can have more races like this, because a lot of people want to see McLaren do well. So yeah, moving on to Leclerc. Leclerc had one of those really quiet but good races. You know, you didn't really hear much from Leclerc, but he was just performing well. He was driving very solidly. So, you know, to be fair, I think that 2nd place is much deserved. In terms of the Ferrari drivers, he was definitely the better man. Obviously, the whole controversy of what's going on with Ferrari and Sebastian Vettel right now is pretty big, but you know, don't forget that Leclerc is there, and Leclerc is a very good driver, as he showcased in this Grand Prix. He was definitely the better Ferrari man in this race out of the 2 Ferrari drivers. And you know, Vettel, very rookie mistake. You know, I seen a tweet on Twitter, I think it was from TRL Limitless, might have been from someone else I was following as well. They basically said that, you know, Sebastian Vettel is not driving like someone who is a 4-time world champion, and they're absolutely right. You know, obviously I've not really been in the Formula 1 scene for very long. I only started watching midsummer last year, but looking back on some of the races, you know, throughout the years, and seeing Sebastian Vettel at essentially what is his prime, you know, this is not somebody who has won 4 World Drivers' Championships. So I don't know if it's just the mindset he was going into because of what happened with Ferrari that sort of has, you know, stumbled him. But hopefully he can sort of get out of that mindset as soon as possible and drive the way that we all know that Sebastian Vettel can drive. And then moving on to the winner, Valtteri Bottas. What can I say? You know, so Valtteri Bottas, he showed good pace throughout the whole race, and just good quality driving. You know, it's very difficult. It must be very difficult to hold back a 6-time world champion behind you for an entire race, but Valtteri Bottas has proven time and time again that he is not just Mercedes number 2, and that he can actually drive and compete against Lewis Hamilton. So big up Valtteri Bottas for the win, big up Charles Leclerc for the 2nd place, and the biggest of all, big up Lando Norris for that 3rd place finish. And again, McLaren having a really good weekend with 2 pretty good finishes from him and Carlos Sainz. So moving on to some of the other drivers now. Honestly, the Red Bulls, man, they had such an unlucky race. Obviously with Albon being taken out by Lewis Hamilton, I definitely feel as if Hamilton should have left a bit more space. That was, in my opinion, fully his fault. So, you know, I feel sorry for Albon. Once again, he's been stripped of a podium opportunity thanks to Lewis Hamilton. And Max Verstappen, who was essentially the dark horse in the race against Mercedes, you know, he was pretty much going to be the Achilles heels for Mercedes, and sadly, after only 14 laps, I think it was his engine or something like that, just started to fail, and his car just completely broke down, and that was a shame. You know, everyone wanted to see how Max Verstappen could compete, considering he was on a different compound of tyres to start the race. So yeah, you know, that just sums up this race in terms of the amount of retirements. I think in total there was 7, maybe 8 retirements in that race. So clearly there was something going wrong with the cars. Obviously I know it's been the longest time period without a Formula 1 race in a very long time, but still, you know, you would expect, I know the COVID-19 thing, you know, it's sort of thrown a spanner in the works basically, but you know, you still expect to see more reliability out of the cars, and to see that many retirements is pretty bad, you know, especially since the fact that, you know, with this with the precautions that Formula 1 are taking for this pandemic, you know, it's going to be even more difficult to sort of figure out what's going on with the car and figure out how they can fix it, because not as much people are going to be able to work on it. So yeah, you know, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what next week's race is going to be like, because next week's race is going to be again at the Austrian Grand Prix, so we're going to have 2 races at the same place. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's just as much retirements, or if, you know, maybe some of the teams are able to figure out what's going on here, because, you know, you had the Red Bulls, you had what was going on with Red Bulls, the Williams. I was actually really hoping that, you know, George Russell could actually finish in the points. I generally think he would have finished in the points if his car didn't break down on him. And then you had the issue with the Haas. Now, I said in my predictions that the Haas were probably going to have the most reliability issues, but damn, man, I mean, both cars having problems with the brakes, that was pretty bad. And you know, you gotta give respect to the drivers, especially I think it was Grosjean who was able to just spin the car the way he did, to get himself out of trouble basically, because of the way that the brakes were going on. So it's pretty bad what happened with the Haas. And then you've got Kimi Räikkönen. His incident was just shocking. I was really shocked when I seen that, just the wheel flying off. It was just wow. I don't know what to say in that regard, but yeah, you know, as I said, it was pretty disappointing in certain aspects of the race. You know, there wasn't as many battles as I was hoping. I was hoping the midfield was going to be full of battles, but again, with the amount of retirements that was happening, it was pretty bad. So, you know, it did disappoint in that regard, but it did not disappoint in other regards, like Lando Norris, like Charles Leclerc, like you know, Albon until the incident with Hamilton. And yeah, so yeah, overall I'd say this Grand Prix weekend was probably you know, a solid race, you know, maybe a 7 out of 10 in terms of it. You know, there was a lot of retirements which disappointed me, and there wasn't as much sort of, you know, battles in the midfield that I was sort of looking for. But at the same time, the last like quarter of the race was exciting, and you know, to see again, once again, I keep repeating myself, but to see Lando Norris on that podium was pretty darn good, and I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty happy about that. So if you want to see more F1 content, whether it's discussions or whether it's F1 2020, because F1 2020 will be released in 2 days time on the 7th of July at the time of recording this. So if you want to see that, then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm looking to hit 200 subscribers as quickly as possible, so hopefully we can hit that soon with you guys' support. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.